Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin. All across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us on the news update on 24 News Radio and Television. My name is Olushola Oyewole. We do sincerely apologize for coming on a little bit behind schedule. The wife of the state governor, Dr. Layemi Abiodun Yebanji, says the state governor remains committed towards improving the standard of education in the state. The governor's wife, who gave the indication while playing host to the management of the Faculty of Education, University of Ibadan, Senado, noted that the government was putting policies in place to improve learning outcomes across all levels. According to her, the government considers education as the foundation for sustainable development, hence the priority placed on initiatives that guarantees access, equity, and quality. She cited the Back to School initiative as one of such programs through which vulnerable pupils are provided with learning materials including uniforms, sandals, bags, and books at the beginning of every academic session. Dean of the Faculty of Education, Professor Kester, on educational facilities across the country. He appealed to the state government and other stakeholders to intervene in addressing the infrastructural deficit, describing UI as a legacy institution that has contributed immensely to national development. And the federal government has unveiled a digital portal designed to provide a credible database of Nigerian teachers, streamline licensing, and promote professionalism in the teaching sector. The portal was launched in Abuja by the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria in partnership with the United Kingdom Funded Partnership for Learning for All in Nigeria program. Speaking at the event, the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmad, said the initiative marked a new chapter for teacher management in the country. And moving on to foreign news, the Japanese government has clarified that its new JICA Africa Hometown Initiative does not include granting Nigerians or other Africans special visas or immigration privileges. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan said reports suggesting that Nigerians moving to Kisarazu city would enjoy a new visa category were contrary to the facts. The ministry explained that during the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, the Japan International Cooperation Agency launched the Africa Hometown Program to strengthen exchanges between African countries and Japanese local governments. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has announced plans to activate a 260,000-strong rapid deployment counter-terrorism brigade with an annual funding requirement of $2.5 billion. President of the Commission, Omar Toure, made an announcement at the 2025 African Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit in Abuja. Toure, represented by ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Ambassador Abdel Fattah Musa, said the funds will be used to activate the brigade, provide logistics, and offer financial support to frontline states battling terrorism. And from Botswana comes the report that Botswana has declared a public health emergency with President Duma Boko, saying the national medical supply chain collapsed due to depleted government coffers and steep cuts in aid from the United States. The announcement came after the Ministry of Health and Wellness warned earlier this month that the system was severely strained with $75 million owed to private health facilities and suppliers. It cited shortages of medicines for a range of illnesses including hypertension, cancer, diabetes, tuberculosis, asthma, mental and sexual health, and stated that elective surgeries were postponed. The United Nations says more than 2 billion people worldwide still lack access to safely managed drinking water, warning that progress towards universal coverage was moving nowhere near quickly enough. The UN's Health and Children's Agencies said a full 1 in 4 people globally were without access to safely managed drinking water last year, with over 100 million people remaining reliant on drinking surface water, for example, from rivers, ponds, and canals. The World Health Organization and UNICEF said lagging water sanitation and hygiene WASH services were leaving billions at greater risk of disease. And moving on to Australia, where a report has it that Australia today expelled Iran's ambassador, accusing the country of being behind anti-Semitic arson attacks in Sydney and Melbourne. First time Australia has expelled an ambassador since World War II. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said intelligence services reached the deeply disturbing conclusion that Iran directed at least 2 anti-Semitic attacks. In a press conference, he noted that Tehran was behind the torching of a kosher cafe in Sydney's Bondi suburb in October 2024. And Australia and Japan have joined a growing list of countries suspending some parcel shipments to the United States after US President Donald Trump's administration ended an exemption that allowed packages valued at less than $800 to enter the country duty-free. With the de minimis exemption set to end on Friday, Australia Post announced that it was implementing a temporary partial suspension. Meanwhile, from Japan comes the report that Japan has launched a protest accusing China of carrying out the unilateral development of gas fields in disputed waters in the East China Sea. In a statement, Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it had detected the construction of a new structure in waters west of the median line between the countries. Tokyo's latest statement follows Japan's lodging of similar protests after the discovery of Chinese-built stations in May and June. In Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, and used a water cannon to disperse thousands of students protesting against lavish allowances given to members of parliament. The clashes came after protesters clad in dark clothing threw rocks and set off fireworks at riot police as they attempted to break into Indonesia's parliament building. At least 1 motorcycle was set ablaze by protesters, but officials did not provide details of damage, any casualties, or arrests. United States President Donald Trump has ordered the removal of Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook amid unproven claims of mortgage fraud, an unprecedented move that immediately raised fears for the central bank's independence. In a letter posted on social media, Trump said Cook, one of the 7 members of the Fed's Board of Governors, was being sacked effective immediately in accordance with his powers under the U.S. Constitution and the 1913 Federal Reserve Act. Trump had on Friday last week threatened to fire Cook, a former who was appointed by former President Joe Biden, if she did not resign. That's the much we have for you on the news at noon. Do join us again at 5 o'clock when we shall be coming your way with the news update. My name is Olushola Oyewole. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across the area, we bring you news and information that will make your day.